Okay, hey everyone, how you doing? Wasn't really planning on doing anything YouTube-wise today. This is just a total off-the-cuff, last-minute kind of thing to do. I was off doing other stuff today. I got home, and I thought, maybe I should make a video, but nothing really came to mind, so whatever. But I was scrolling down the One Piece subreddit just now, totally not reading the spoilers for tomorrow's chapter, not at all. By the way, don't smoke, kids. I just felt like giving a public service announcement just now. Come on, kids, don't smoke. Lung cancer. No one likes that, all right? But anyway, I'm scrolling down the subreddit, and I saw a post from a few days ago, and it said that One Piece Chapter 489 was released 10 years ago on February 25th, 2008. So that was, a few days off, but okay. Now, what is significant about One Piece Chapter 489, you may ask? Well, I just happen to have Volume 50 right here with Nami lying very seductively on the top. Oh, yes. But One Piece Chapter 489 is sort of relevant because this scene happens. It's just a rock and roll kind of skeleton with an afro and a top hat and weird straw-hatted pirate dude sitting on a piano. And the skeleton, I guess, asks to join his pirate crew, and Luffy says sure thing, and then a bunch of other people off to the side here freak out, and then Zoro, I guess, is passed out drunk, or something happened with Zoro right before this, but my memory's not perfect. I don't know what's going on. So it has been almost exactly 10 years since Brook joined, and of course, Brook was the last member to join the crew. So, just an off-cuff video on where we're going to go from here with, like, how many members of the crew are actually going to join, because I know that's something that people bring up constantly. I've made other videos where I discuss, like, possible new members of the crew, like Jinbei and Carrot joining, so we're not going to talk about anybody specifically in this video, because I've already done that, but I guess I'll just pose the question to you right now of, how many members do you think the Straw Hat crew will have by the end of the story? And I'm not talking about the Grand Fleet. I'm not talking about, like, pirate crews that are allied with the Straw Hats. I'm talking about the core members of the Straw Hat crew. How many do you think they're going to be? And there's a few things you have to keep in mind when considering that number. Keep in mind, this is essentially the main cast of the story, right? So that's one of the reasons why Luffy's crew is always, like, a little smaller than the other ones. You have, like, Shanks's crew, which is not that big for a Yonko, but then you get into, like, Big Mom's crew and Kaido's crew and Whitebeard's that numbered into hundreds, maybe even thousands of crewmates when you really just, like, if you consider, like, not everybody that lives in Totland is a member of the Big Mom Pirates, but kind of a good chunk of them are. Maybe even thousands on her crew that she could just call upon, like fleets and fleets of people whenever she desires. Kaido's kind of the same way, although we don't really know the whole deal with Kaido's, hierarchical structure and everything. So, but one of the reasons why Luffy's crew is so tiny is because it's the main cast. You gotta be careful. You can't have a main cast of like 60 people. That might be a little bit of a struggle for Oda to kind of juggle. And I always find it really impressive whenever a mangaka can clear that hurdle, whenever they have a large cast of characters, like in My Hero Academia, the main cast is class 1A, and it's like 20 kids in there, so if a manga, and they balance rather well, so it's not an easy thing to do, so that's one thing. There's always going to be an upper cap for that. In that regard, given Oda's writing style, I would say any more than, like, 15 would be pushing it really big time. Hell, even right now in the story where we just have 9 members of the crew, Oda has been splitting the crew in the past few arcs, if you haven't noticed. And so the Straw Hats have not actually been together for the better part of 200 chapters, getting close to that anyway. The last time they were all together as a crew was, I think, right after they arrived at Dressrosa. They were on the Sunny, and then they all separated. They had a team that went to Greenbit, and that team eventually separated, and then Sanji separated. They went to Zou, and then the rest of the crew was on Dressrosa, and then they all met up at Zou, but Sanji wasn't present at Zou, so they all weren't there together, and then they split the crew again. One side went over to Wano, and then one side went to Totland to rescue Sanji. So we actually haven't seen the crew together in a while. That kind of does suck, because, that's the Straw Hats. You like to see them all together, and they don't actually spend all that much time. Like, we don't see the Straw Hats hanging out on the Sunny as much as I would like. So, Oda's already running across that problem, so even 15 is kind of pushing it. When I say 15, I'm talking, like, the absolute max, like, upper limit of characters that he could possibly juggle to have a main cast. I can't see it being any more than 15, but most likely going to be less than that. Now, a lot of people probably already in the comments below typing this scene right here, and I actually pulled this out. I have my One Piece manga collection. I have the entire... I went to Barnes & Noble today. I spent way too much money on books today, guys. And I bought the newest release of One Piece, and so I have the entire... I keep up to date. I have the entire manga. So, at the end of Chapter 1 of One Piece, Romance Dawn, we have this scene after Luffy KOs a giant sea monster. He has a scene where he's right here. He says, "First thing I'm gonna do is I gotta get a crew. I think about 10 men should do it." Acting a little sexist there, Luffy. What the hell, Shueisha? 10 men? Or maybe that might be Viz's issue. I'm just kidding. I don't care. I mean, whatever. It's obviously not how it played out. Okay, yeah, so 10. He threw out a definite number of 10. And so I think a lot of people still hold that, as ironclad even till this day of, like, there's going to be 10 members of the crew. That's why Oda's taking so long to reveal the 10th member, because Brook was number 9, so obviously the 10th is going to be the last one, so that's why it's taken literally 10 years. But wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be what the reason he's doing is, like, I deliberately waited 10 years since the last crewmate in order to reveal the 10th crewmate. I'm Oda. I am dedicated to this shit. I have patience. How about you, fandom? But I have to look at that and I have to really say, hey, look, this happened, 20 years ago, and, I mean, if Oda really wanted to take some liberties with it, I'm sure he could have. I have no doubt in my mind that maybe when Oda... Well, keep in mind, when Oda started One Piece, he didn't plan on it lasting as long as it did today, guys. I mean, that wasn't what he intended. I think he said he planned on finishing the story in, like, 5 years, but, like, every time he's like, well... I gotta explain this character. Well, I have to draw this out. I have to really get the whole emotional impact of Alabasta, so we have to do this. Well, we have to do this with Skypiea. Well, we have to do this with Enies Lobby. So it just kept getting dragged out more and more and more, but I think what he was going for is I have the basic gist of how the story's gonna be laid out. So, yeah, it's very possible that at the beginning of the story, he was like, yeah, 10 crewmates. I have a good idea on what they're gonna be. Maybe he didn't know each and every one of the 10 back then, but it's like, yeah, Zoro, Sanji, Nami, Usopp, he knew the initials. Maybe he knew he was going to throw in an animal in there somewhere. Maybe he didn't have his eyes set on a reindeer human. Maybe he's, oh yeah, I want to do an animal. Few women, cyborg maybe. I don't know. But it's been a long time since this, guys. It's been 20-something years. I think even if Oda doesn't remember this particularly, because, a lot of mangakas don't recall everything that they've written, go watch some interviews with Hirohiro Araki, the mangaka of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. He doesn't remember half the shit he's wrote. Granted, JoJo's is longer running than One Piece, closer than like 30 years, but still, I mean, come on, you can't expect him to remember everything. So, yeah, I don't hold a lot of water for this, the 10 crewmate thing. I think that's adjustable. I think if Oda's like, you know what, it's been a while, I've written out these characters, I feel like there needs to be more than just the 10 caps, so that's cool. And also, keep in mind, in Volume 60, at the end of Luffy and Sabo and Ace's backstory, before the time skip, you had a moment where Luffy was going back out to sea. Like, it was kind of like the same rendition as in Chapter 1, just updated a little bit. And he doesn't mention anything about the 10 crewmate thing. He just has this line where he says, Sabo was first, Ace was second, and I'm third. Doesn't say anything about the whole, I need 10 crewmates or whatever like that. It's more about Sabo and, him fulfilling his dream. All right, let's go. I'm going to be king of the pirates. Kaizoku Oni, Ore Nara, that kind of shit. That's what that's about. So I think if Oda was really fucking just deadlocked 10, he would have included it just in a side panel at this point, because this was only like even Volume 60 was a while ago. 2010 was the time skip, guys. That was 8 years ago. Damn. But still, I think Oda would have mentioned it then. How many do I think? Well, Jinbei, I definitely think, is going to join up. I think that's already been set in stone. I already have stated I want Carrot to join. And with that being said, I also would like maybe one more after that. So we have Jinbei at number 10, Carrot at number 11. I think because it's been 10 years, I think we can get a twofer. I don't think that's asking for too much. And then one more crew member that we've yet to see yet. Another crew member that we've yet to meet. Mystery character. Maybe he'll be in Wano, maybe he'll be somewhere else, or she'll be somewhere else, or they'll be somewhere else. Don't know. But I would like that to be the case. One Piece is, the editor I think said that we're about maybe 60 75% done, but then again, Oda said that Wano was supposed to start at, like, you know, last year, or I think the year before that or something, so you can't always hold numbers to their water. I remember, at one point the editors said, like, we're halfway done through Totland, and this was around chapter 850, and Totland began in 825, so I'm thinking, okay, so that means Totland's gonna end at 875, or around there. We're nearing chapter 900, and it might not end in the next few chapters. I mean, possibly, but not. So, you know, don't always hold those numbers to exactness. I mean, I always wondered, like, how do you calculate that? How do you calculate, we are 65% done with the One Piece manga? Like, Oda could be like, well, I want to spend more time here, or I want to do more time with this, you know, and it extends. So he's done when he's done. Maybe that's like a ballpark estimate, but I don't think you can be as exact with that, because the story's always evolving and depends on when characters, like maybe Oda has a plan, I'm going to introduce the Shogun in Wano, and he has a basic idea, like, okay, the Shogun is going to be introduced like this, and then these characters are going to fight him or her, and then the backstory with the Shogun, but then when we get to him, he's like, well, I want to reveal this other stuff too. Well, I want to make sure to do this. Well, I want the fight to last longer than this. You know, it could change. It's variable. He's the author of this story. He could do whatever he wants, basically. Oda is God! These people, you think Rayleigh and Dragon are strong? Oda is the one that rules all their fates. Every time Nami wakes up in the morning, like, are my boobs big again? What the God? You know, like that, yeah, okay. But anyway, yeah. So I think the idea of Jinbei and Carrot joining is possible. Jinbei definitely, Carrot kind of 50-50 on that. But then I think we can get maybe one more in there. So bringing the total number up to 12, you know, and I think that at that point, because Oda might do that splitting the crew thing again. I would like it. They're all going to join up at Wano, and I think that's what Oda's kind of gearing up for. The Straw Hats have a big reuniting, like chapter in Wano, like a big chapter where they're just all in the freaking same panel together finally. And then Wano, they have their big epic event. I cannot see Wano lasting shorter than 2 years. I cannot see Wano lasting any shorter than, like, Dressrosa, okay? It's been built up so goddamn much. Oda wants to do so much stuff with it. It's gonna be there we're gonna be at Wano for a while. I know there's a lot of people that are like, when are we gonna get to Wano? When are we getting to Wano? I better not hear any of you complaining when we finally get to Wano and we're stuck there until, like, let's say he gets there by the end of 2018 and we're stuck there till like 2022, okay? I don't want to hear any complaining. You know, you were complaining the old time we were driving down to Disney World, we finally get there, like, I want to go home. I better not hear this shit, alright? We get to Wano, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna enjoy samurai action. It could be 1 year, 2 year, 3, we could be stuck at Wano for 4 years. Okay, I could be having a midlife crisis by the time we reach Wano. I could be in my fucking 40s, and we're still gonna enjoy it, alright? But yeah, so I think, you know, big epic moment at Wano, but then after Wano, he might do the splitting the crew thing again, just for the point. And we might split the crew at Wano, like different sections. We have no idea how the layout of Wano is going to be. Probably going to be like traditional, you know, feudal era Japan maybe. There might be an equivalent of like, here's the main island, and then here's, you know, Okinawa, all the various. It's probably going to be based off Japan. That's what Togashi did with freaking Hunter x Hunter. There's an island or continent in Hunter x Hunter named Japan, because Japan and Nippon, you know, combine them to get portmanteau. That's what he did, so why not, right? But anyway, yeah, what do you guys think about the cap-off for the crew members? That's what the whole video is about, basically, just asking you a question that has just a simple number, but I tend to ramble, so here we are. I think it's open. I don't think Oda has, like, any lockdown for this. I think it can be higher than 10. Jinbei, Carrot for me, and then maybe another character. I know I was throwing out Katakuri, but that was more of a fever dream than, I mean, it would have been super cool, but I don't think that's how it's gonna go. But yeah, I would be happy with that. And at the end of the day, does it really matter? I mean, does it really honestly matter at the end of the day if it's like a new crew member is added like right before the final stage of the story? You know, like, if we were way back at the beginning of One Piece and we were adding a new character, like, every story arc, like, at first it would be like, okay, Zoro, cool, Nami, Usopp, Sanji, that's pretty cool, you have the Chopper, okay, Robin, Frankie, and then, like, 10 other people. It'd be like, okay, you need to calm down, the main cast is getting a little bit too big. But hell, I could see, like, the story winding down at, like, Oda's at, like, 95% done with it and be like, well, we're all already done anyway, so screw it. This person joins out of nowhere to help in the final battle, and it's like the story's almost done, so who cares? Your honorary Straw Hat future guy that we don't know about yet. So yeah, who knows? Who knows? But what are your thoughts on that? And I guess to give you a better, broader spectrum of just giving me a number, do you think each additional crewmate from here on out has to have a crew position? Like, Jinbei's gonna be the helmsman, we know that. I think Carrot can rock the lookout. But once again, like, it's not like we get to see them on the crew all that much. We don't get to see them all hanging out on the sunny all that often. So, Jinbei's gonna be the helmsman, cool, but it's not like, I don't think every crewmate needs to have, like, a definitive job, it's more of just about, like, Luffy likes them, they have a dream that they want to follow, Jinbei obviously has a dream to, make it a better place for fishmen and humans to coexist. Carrot's dream is just to see the world. She's been stuck on an elephant her entire life. She just wants to explore. I think that's, not like, Usopp's dream is kind of like that. He just wants to be a brave warrior of the sea. That's kind of vague and broad. Carrot's is like, I just want to see the world. I'm like, okay, fine, that's a dream, you can come on board. So, that's my view on the point. Alright, that's it. I tend to ramble when I don't really... I usually write layouts or, like, outlines for videos, like bullet points. When I don't do that, I just tend to randomly go off on tangents. I treat it like a live stream, so I'm gonna get off now. Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. What do you think about that? Happy 10th anniversary, Brook! I know you're freaking excited to the bone about that. Yoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Good night, everybody.